Alright, I'm gonna head back into Lightroom and I'm in the camera app again. I am going to show you what I was talking about when I left off on the last video here. We already explored the top options as far as X goes back to the Lightroom library, and then Flash, you can have it on and off and so on. And we did the camera, you can flip that around. Now the thing that I've been excited to show you about is down here when you see this Pro button, click there and then you can go to, well actually you know what, you're first going to see this, your camera's automatically going to be in auto mode. So the first time you ever go into this it's going to say auto. Now you want to just click it and you want it to say professional. And once it says professional, then look at all of these other options that you get. So those weren't there when we originally launched the app. So here on the left hand side it says EXP, and that stands for exposure. And what I can do is I can click that and a slider pops up, and I can either go, I can underexpose it or overexpose it by three stops. So under or over, and actually there's an even easier way within Lightroom to adjust for exposure that I don't think I ever told you about. So I'm going to click X on this and I'm just going to click on, well, I'm going to get back into the camera, but if I'm even in the automatic mode and say I want to quickly adjust the exposure of my image that I'm taking, and all I have to do is take my finger and move to the left or move to the right. And I can either go up 3 or I can go down 3. So you don't even have to be in professional mode in order to adjust the exposure like that. It's just a little tip for you. Now I do want to say one thing about it, and that's this. You want to take a photograph that's properly exposed. How do I want to put this? So technically, if I took a photograph like this, it's very underexposed and not very interesting, and say okay, well I know that I can go back in later and go into the light settings and then I can boost the exposure up. But something happens here, and actually I'm glad because you can see it now. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm pretty sure you can see this. This is what I mean by digital noise. This looks bad. Okay. This happened because I didn't properly expose for it, and then I asked the camera, or I asked the program to try to give me back information that it didn't even have, because when it compressed the file, threw away that information, and now I have this crappy digital noise. Let's take a picture that's exposed about like that, but where I get it right from the get-go. Okay, so I'm going to expose like this. This is about what it looked like. And let's see if it looks any better. And this might actually look similar because it's a result of the high ISO, but let's see. So this would, I believe, be... no, this is much better. So look, I zoomed in here, and I mean, I just see barely any noise. And I go back to the other one, and if I zoom in, it is Noise City. So that's digital noise, and I think you can see it. If you full screen the video, you'll surely be able to see it. And that's why, this is like one of the big reasons why you want to get the exposure set correctly when you when you're first taking the picture. So that's the tip, and that's why, like, if you're in your camera and you're shooting, you want to get it right. You want to either darken it or lighten it, and that's a really cool effect or cool option that you have there. So exposure's straightforward. Now seconds. This is SEC right here. This is really awesome. This is a super powerful setting that I'm really excited about, because it takes your iPhone camera and it makes a whole lot more creative options possible. So right now it's set to auto, and if you look at the left hand side of the slider, there's like ... and then a little horizontal bar, a vertical bar, and anything past that, then you're getting into the different settings for shutter speed. So here is 1 over 10,000, 1 over 8,000, and this is of a second, okay? So the shutter speed can be 1 over 4,000, and think of how small of an amount of time that would be. 1 over 5,000 seconds. That would be like, you know, if you blink your eye, it's like, it takes like a second to do that. So like 5,000 blinks in between one eye blink. That's fast. And that's the kind of shutter speed that could stop motion. That could be kind of cool to try to take a photograph where you're finding is like something really fast, like a speeding car or something, and go in your shutter speed and take it up to 1 over 10,000 and see if you can stop motion like that. Now what I can do, and what I really think is fun, is I can drag it all the way down to 1/4 of a second. Why is that cool? Well, I can try to explain that to you. And in order to do it, I'm gonna kind of put the exposure down, and you'll see why here in a second. Now, I've got the exposure set to 1/4 of a second, and I'm here in a dark space. It's important that I'm in a dark space. And what I have here are just, let's see if you can see, yeah, just some Christmas lights. But look what's happening. So, if I move the lights around, it's taking 1/4 of a second of image. So what I could do is, and this is really cool, it's almost like you can paint with light. And I will, wow. Alright, I'm just going to take a look at a couple of those. So you can obviously have a lot of fun with this. And I'm going to go into my photos. And, well, remember, that's not how I always forget that. That's not how you get in there. But I'm going to go back to photos and take a look at what I've come up with here. And as you can see, pretty awesome. I mean, come on. I might just add for something like, let me look through these. So that's nice. Very nice. I like this one. That's cool too. Very nice. Alright, so now the trick with this, and actually on these, what I think would be especially cool is if you took your like a little vignette too. So with this you can make it more extreme because it's an abstract photograph anyway, but I just kind of increased the vignette on that. Let me lower the screen brightness. I think the video will show up better. Okay. And I'm doing that just to show you some more color in the image. Yeah, that should show up better. So, pretty awesome for sure. And the trick with this though is you've got to be in a dark space. You can't go out in daylight and then put your shutter speed on a setting of 1/4 of a second and then expect to be able to capture anything interesting. So the trick was that I put the exposure all the way down, so -3, and I'm in my basement actually. It's a very, in a corner of my basement, the lights are off, and it's a pretty dark space. You can do this outside at night, is another option. Once it's all dark, and you can, if you have like a flashlight or, you could, if you're by a fire, if you're having a fire outside or something in your fire pit, you can explore painting with light there. And instead of moving the object, like I moved these Christmas lights. This was so fun, I almost want to take a couple more. Instead of moving the object itself, sometimes that's impossible, and sometimes you actually have to move the camera, and I could show you that. But let's just say I have my lights. I'll hang my lights up here, and I'll move it a little bit like this. And instead of moving the, say the object is this, like if you're taking a picture of, like if you're having a campfire or something, well, you just move your phone. So I'm going to take the phone off the tripod, and then I will move the phone itself, and we'll take a look at those last couple pictures that I took there. We'll go in there. So similar effect, and I will move this in here, and then again I think I need to lower the brightness because some of the colors are not coming through. Alright, why does it keep doing that? Oh, you know what I did? It's a setting within Lightroom where I've automatically set the brightness to the maximum is what it was. Which is... anyway, you can see actually, okay, so here you go. You can see that you can achieve some pretty awesome effects just by you moving the phone instead of moving the objects. So this is a pretty fun project for you. In fact, this is what your project's going to be this week, so be thinking about it. I know this is only week 2, but be thinking about it, and I'm going to ask you to do something like painting with light in the project for this week. So I think I'll stop the video here, and there are a couple other options that we're going to explore within the camera, and when I get back with you, we're going to take a look at the ISO.